abapulida ba boda boda era nga batali bange na boda boda mbalamusaako era nga mbeebaza okuba nti mukola omulimu ogw'ettendo nakuba nyongera okubanga mbakuuta ati bannaye mwekuume ebiragiro mubikwase kannabwala era mubeere nga muvuga omuntu omu yambala masiki yo helmet gyambaye n'omusabaze gogenda okubanga otwala mugambe naye abeere nga masiki ajambadde kubanga natukiza kubanga tukola ebiragiro ebyo tujja kuba tuteekebwa ku muggalo nemekubeera nga tukola so nga ate ensimbi tuzeetaaga kuba nti tufuna ekinagulira amagala eddiba n'okuba ntubeeza abantu baffe nga bulijjo ngenda kuba nga ntandika olunaku lwakusatu tukimanyi bulungi nti mbeera n'omukulu Namara Tom etuba nga twogera olulimi olunyanyimbe tugatta kasavu kanyama kubanga musajja watutwalira naye tugenda batutunira ensonga ekyabugeza bannayuganda obwama y'ensonga ya security ensonga y'ebyokwerinda mu ggwanga butaweetuuse ebizibu ebiza bibeerawo emyezi gomi egizibeerawo abantu balumbiddwa abantu battiddwa lwakuba nti ebiseera ebisinga kituuka kuba nene nga fena tuvayo kubanga tuwogera naye nga n'abantu bangi battiddwa mu kaseera tubadde mu kaseera k'obululu bantu bangi battibwa NUP yavayo neraga nti abantu bayo battiddwa bawambiddwa bakoze bingi nnyo ebibaddewo naye nga ate neokutuuka na kati tewali yafunye report eri conclusive oba eyokuba nti nafuna obwenkanya nti kituufu omuntu wange yattibwa nemba nga nfunye justice so ensonga eyo yayongedde okubanga esituka nga ne Jeno Mulamba alumbiddwa nageza kuba nti atemulibwa aba ne bagamba nti lwakituse ku Jeno ate olwofe abasigadde abali ayino wansi tunyaba kitya so tugenda tutunira olwaleero n'omukulu Tom Namara social critic atubulire ddala embeera y'ebyokwerinda mu ggwanga eri alarming abantu batuka okuba waliwo katwiti kenalabye ng'omuntu agamba nti Uganda etaaga okuba nga omuntu ajawuliramukko noddukakokko obweru waayo n'obeera nga ofuna emembe kubanga ekiri mu ggwanga tekiwumisa nakabululu naye ensonga bituwa eri oba nedda. Good morning Mr. Tom.
Morning.
Yeah.
Morning viewers.
Yeah, as I was coming here in the morning, I just got a glimpse of before we go to our main topic, a glimpse of the new cabinet list, and I was shocked. Were you shocked too?
Not
Or
really,
it was obvious to you?
not really shocked because over the days, it's characteristic of the appointing authority.
Yeah.
He always has a card up his sleeve that people might not have anticipated. But it's the usual criteria, the distribution, depending on region, several other constituencies like the women, religion.
The region, yeah.
I mentioned region first.
Yeah.
As
Women,
in the area,
areas,
women, then religion.
the region.
There'll always be the historicals, the original people who brought this government
Yeah.
to power.
The NRA.
Yeah, the NRA, if you may. And several other considerations. Generally, it's about representation. And of course, if
Does this list of new cabinet ministers depict a sense of rewarding some people who performed well in the elections?
well, it always does. It always does. This is a patronage system. Patronage is both systemic and systematic.
Yeah.
That is because we lean a lot towards the feudal. We are still at the feudal stage of development. Albeit that some sections are marginal or peripheral capitalist, but mostly we are feudal. So power lies at the top.
Okay.
With the emperor or the monarch or whatever we may call him, and then it percolates down step by step.
Okay.
So you have to where you to give your allegiance, to lend him your allegiance, and in return he throws you some crumbs of what he has on his table. Yeah, that's the modus operandi.
That's just been, by the way, to our discussion today. Maybe we shall talk about that next week. Our next Wednesday, we shall be looking at the cabinet or some other issue. But right now, I want us to focus on the issue of the security. How are we safe in the country, Uganda? Many things have been said. The president has said so many things. Ugandans are having much on their mind. People have been killed, abducted, and there are no reports. No reports are coming out. CID is it's making us that reports are coming, but we're not seeing. There's no conclusive report that has ever come out on people who have been killed, who have been murdered, who have been arrested. So Uganda has asked so many questions. Our state of the security in the country, how do you look at it? The president came out and said that it's going to even harm or harm the traffic officers. We're having so many guns in circulation. People are in possession. People possess so many guns, which have become a problem to the society. Shots are like shots, but the president is saying it's going to even harm the traffic officers. Will this curb the insecurity or increase on the insecurity in the country?
Guns don't hurt people. People hurt people.
But by using guns.
People who use the guns are the problem.
Okay.
The guns themselves. That being said, there is there's nowhere where there is perfect security. So because there are institutions which are meant to guarantee it.
Yeah.
As we sleep soundly in the night in our beds, there are people who don't sleep and whose duty it is to guarantee our security.
Our security.
However, there are always loopholes which are exploited by criminals whom the president calls some other uncharitable name that I don't need to repeat here.
To echo it.
And they'll always sneak up on security and cause some damage.
Okay.
But sneaking up behind someone is a cowardly act. Because the other person is not aware, is not ready for you. You just sneak up from behind and hit him and run away.
In Uganda, we call it sumagiza.
Call it what?
Sumagiza.
Sumagiza, from Sumagira.
Sumagiza.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
But by and large, I think the situation is under control. The government is on top of the situation.
Really?
Because one swallow doesn't make a summer. There is a type of bird called a swallow.
A swallow.
Yeah. So they always portend the imminent summer. So just one bird, not a whole flock.
But now but now, Mr. Tom, we are having so many birds.
It depends on what you call so many, and it depends in relation to what. We have just been through a campaign period.
Yeah.
And in this campaign period, some of the contenders have taken it upon themselves to act contrary
to the guidelines
and in dissonance to the guidelines of the law.
But does that call for them to be tortured, for them to be abducted, for them to be shot at and killed?
Not really. Torture is just out of the question. It's uncivilized. I don't think we should even give it time to discuss
this.
In this day and age, there is no question about such barbaric acts. However, the security is manned by human beings, and these human beings are liable to committing mistakes every now and then, here and there. So what should worry us is whether there are mechanisms to deal with those individuals who might have gone off the beaten track and have compromised the law in one way or another. Otherwise, those contradictions will always be there.
Yeah.
I think we should address the cause, the underlying cause of all this security thing. Now, this multi-party politics, in my view, the whole parliamentary democracy thing is not for us.
When you say us, whom do you refer to?
I mean Uganda.
Ugandan, okay.
Or other developing countries that are at our level of development.
Let's make it a wider perception. Is it when you talk about us, you mean like Africa?
The third world.
The third world,
Yeah.
okay.
So, in essence, political parties are supposed to be all about class struggle.
Okay.
Do we have classes?
Here?
We don't.
We don't.
We are about 85% peasant.
Yeah.
So the 15% is what I referred to earlier as those that are getting into the peripheral capitalist arrangement.
Okay.
Therefore, in the absence of those classes, in that vacuum, nature abhors vacuum.
Yeah.
So other sectarian tendencies will come in and fill up that vacuum. So such tendencies like religion, such tendencies like ethnicity, which birth cronyism and all that kind of thing. So you find people gravitating towards the candidate because of their ethnicity, because of their religion, because of their age group, because of their occupation, what they do in life.
Yeah.
For example, one of the candidates in the recent elections is a
musician, an artist.
He's an artist and a superstar.
Yeah.
And we are talking about a country where the median age is below 16.
Below 16, yeah.
15 point something. And you can imagine the appeal, the allure of a superstar, of a musician.
To this age group.
Yeah, to this age group.
Yeah.
And then we have the endemic tribalism, what we call tribes. It has always been a derogatory word, and I don't like to use it.
But that's what you have to use.
With their nationalities, their ethnicities. Because remember, all former colonies, so-called nation states, are an amalgamation of different nations. We were lumped together to serve the interests of some other imperial entities.
Yeah.
So we are a product of the 1884 Berlin Conference. That's why you find we have borders cutting across families. You find an Agri in the cabinet of Kenya.
In Kenya.
And his brother, rather Agri here, then the brother Modi across
Kenya.
In Kenya, meaning the border between Kenya and Uganda divides, it cuts between that family. So our nations are not organic, because by definition, it's supposed to be a collection or a group of people with the same origin, the same background, cultural background,
yeah.
Speaking the same language. So if you look at it from that perspective, we are not a country.
Yeah.
If I met a Mkonjo in London, or if I met an Acholi elsewhere, we'd have to speak English.
True.
You see?
Yeah.
So in that sense, we are divided. We are even polarized, and that makes the whole exercise, getting back to our main topic, the whole exercise of appointing ministers have to consider such interests.
Okay.
Because if you have 52 main tribes, each one of those has to be represented.
We need to be represented
in one way or another. So it gives the appointing authority some food for thought.
Okay.
And he really has to scratch his head to come up with a balanced thing, where every consideration like religion, region, age group, gender and stuff like that.
Okay.
But eventually, he always gets his balancing act together. And we move on. Of course, the naysayers will always be there.
Yeah.
Like the old saying goes, there are many ways to skin a cat. So the appointing authority might look at something from a perspective, and the critics will also look at the same thing from
Another
a different perspective.
Yeah,
altogether.
true.
Yeah.
So coming back to our issue of the security, you're still giving us...
Security.
Yeah. Are we safe as Ugandans? As you said, that the situation is under control, but we are seeing security forces, security operatives and organs are up and down. And no reports are coming up. People are still being shot at. Even the president came up some time back when the killing of, was it Chirumila, happened, and he put in place 10 measures to be followed. I remember some of like numbering the helmets of border riders, giving them reflector jackets, putting the tracking device in motor vehicles and motorbikes, but all that has never been put into effect. Why is it that whenever the president comes up with views or measures to curb crime in the country, they're not effected? Are these criminals state-engineered or?
Security has been one of the hallmarks or the strongest points of this government. Both security of person and property.
Yeah.
Now, the different interests that are fighting for power know that you have to work on those strong points of your adversary in order to weaken them. So they are working hard to create the impression that there is no security of person. The media is not helping matters with their sensationalism, sensational reporting. You know about the analogy of dog eat man and man eat dog. In the situation, the latter makes more news.
But how can we do it? How can we do it when they don't avail information to us?
Yeah, the information is availed, but now these days you have to factor in some other unconventional ways and means of information, like the social media, for example. Social media and mainstream media are not the same because the mainstream media is regulated, while social media is not regulated.
Not regulated,
but social media penetrates more in the society, because whoever has a smartphone has access to social media, and people like to believe the sensational.
Yeah,
it's inherent, it's intrinsic in human to believe the scary, the sensational. So, and there are people who have made it their duty to drum up that kind of atmosphere. But in reality, I don't think there is that much cause for concern. Coming back to why the things have been reoccurring, I think every case has its own particular circumstances and situations and context.
But when you look at most of them have bearings that a person is going to see the president, or has some information is giving out, and is the next day is murdered. Look at the instance of Abiriga wanted to see the president. Look at the instance of the late Chirumila wanted to see the president. Look at the instance of Kawesi was in line of seeing the president, things like that. Why is it that whenever somebody has information, concealed information to reveal the president, is earmarked?
In nascent polities like this one, there are no systems. There are no tried and tested systems. So we rely on the charisma of the president to replace those systems.
Okay.
So usually information is supposed to be channeled through those systems, It's supposed to be filtered, and it's supposed to be attended to and worked on, depending to how well laid down the systems are. So the man at the top becomes the systems because they are not there. But of course, he tries to lay them, to put them in place, but it takes time.
But Mr. Namara, if you talk about systems, we have so many security organs in the country. We have the ISO, we have the police, we have the army, we have the military. What are they helping him? What are they helping the natives on the security issues? If you're talking about security, if you're talking about systems.
Yeah, we have them, but they are manned by people.
Yeah.
And those people's work ethic and their values, their general value and personal conduct is sometimes, it leaves a lot to be desired. There is endemic corruption. There is no question about that.
Yeah.
And it's a cancer. It is a disease that is insidious and it creeps up on the victim. And by the time they know, it's almost chronic because it is self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Once corruption has pervaded the whole system, there is nowhere to run. And that puts the leadership in even more, at a more crossroads. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to trust. They don't know who to work with. And work must be done.
True.
So I still think, considering all those circumstances, I think government has still got its act together. There's no cause for alarm. You mentioned some of the interventions that have been put in place.
Put in place, yeah.
But that don't seem to be
Working.
or producing any results, positive results. But they are. Only that when they have failed is when we look at them.
Let me give you like one. We had this advocacy for cameras became cameras. Cameras came into place, but we haven't seen any use of these cameras to curb down these crimes. When I see them during the borders, when people are clabbered with hammers, when phones are snatched, but the issues of like shootings and we will not see the use of these cameras.
I don't think that's very accurate.
Because even Mr. Namara, because even in the instance of the shooting of General Katumba, the people who were manning, operating the camera, were arrested that they didn't give out information. It doesn't mean that these people who are, as you say, that corruption is eating up our security forces, our security organs. Does it mean that people inside, even those ones who are manning security, are the ones failing, have lost grip?
They've not lost grip, but on an individual level, some people do not live up to expectations. I don't want to sound like the government spokesperson because I'm not.
Yeah.
But I like to look at things squarely. Like I said earlier, we only look at when the systems have not functioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then incidents like the Katumba murder attempt, which claimed the life of his daughter
And the driver.
So it's only issues like those that bring that put the state on the spot.
On the spot, yeah.
And people must give account. People must account for the situation.
But I think what we are doing is not bad because we have to put we have to check the state.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly, there's nothing wrong with that. Because if it is not checked, they will
relax.
They will relax. We have to keep them on their toes. And that's why, for example, there are freedoms here. There's the freedom of the press, there's the freedom of expression, there is democracy, like we've been through the campaign period. So, and that's why we get to know where the laxity is. Because we are allowed to question, we are allowed to probe, we are allowed to shine the torch, to shine the light on some of this rot. And there is a lot of rot.
True.
There is a lot of things that need to be swept clean.
The Kawukumi has to go out.
The Kawukumi. But such things are easier said than done. Because once the Kawukumi has been entrenched, it means even in appointing in the echelons, in the higher echelons, there is Kawukumi, and this Kawukumi will protect
the lower one.
The lower Kawukumi.
Yeah.
So it is the cleanup cannot be overnight.
Okay.
What we need to look at is the output. Are they doing, are the state organs keeping the security? And if they are failing, by what margin, by what percentage are they failing? Because crime is part and parcel of society.
Yeah, true.
And it cannot be eliminated.
True.
Totally, but it has to be fought.
To be fought.
It has to be suppressed and kept at the least, the
a lower margins.
Minimal levels.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing that.
Mr. Namara, my other issue, my other concern is about when the NRA were liberating this country, they gathered, joined forces and fought whatever insecurity and policies which were bad, and we applaud them for that. But this time around, I'm seeing them relaxed and leaving this whole thing to the president. Where are the generals? Look at the people like General Salim Saleh, the other generals who are still in place. They're so quiet about this issue, these insurgencies going on in the country. What is their role? How are they helping the nationals in this?
Matters of security are not public matters. They are behind the scenes affairs.
Okay.
We only get to know about what has been afoot, what has been being planned or worked upon by the results.
Okay.
I don't think they have relaxed, but I think the dynamics keep changing. And the state should expect that and should adopt measures to also change, to try and contain the challenges that are cropping up. For example, there never used to be as easy means of communication as they are now, and that should help both ways. It cuts both ways. The criminals will use these gadgets, the communication gadgets, and the state will also use the same communication gadgets to counter the security. But some of these modes of crime are not very easy to prevent. They're not very easy to detect, and they're not very easy to follow up and solve.
What makes them complex?
Quite a few things, some of which are, for example, the law. The law itself can sometimes be
it has some loopholes.
It can be an impediment. For example, it provides for bail.
Yeah.
The idea is that you are considered innocent
until proven guilty.
And once you are sprung free on bail, then the likelihood of tinkering with the investigations is increased.
Yeah.
And you're not going to deny people bail because it is constitutional.
It's their right.
You see? So security is now put on the scale with the legal gymnastics. Which is which? I mean, which is heavier? What should take precedence? And I think security should take precedence.
Yeah. Because
everything starts and ends with security. When there's no security, there will basically be nothing.
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes you see people being rearrested even after the courts have provided them bail. The weakness mostly that I've seen is in prosecution. There is arresting, but then there is prosecuting, proving that the suspect you are arresting
is guilty.
Is guilty, placing them on the scene. And it's not a simple it's not child's play.
Are you trying to say that, that we have something like we have a weak, like there's weakness in forensics and the CID?
Certainly, there is a weakness, and this weakness is systemic, and it all goes back to the issues we talked about, like sectarianism, for example, because we are not the same people, much as we have been lumped together to form a nation state. So when you are appointed Inspector General of Police, you are likely to appoint your cousin.
My cousin, my uncles,
the officer in charge of crime intelligence. Then your cousin is also likely to appoint his or her friends and cronies and girlfriends and stuff. And there is a reason why it's called crime intelligence. You have to be intelligent. In other words, not every Tom, Dick, and Harry
will come in and
can come in and do the needful.
True.
So most of these things they need to be looked at in both in their individuality and in their collectivity. Because the bigger picture is made by the smaller components together, which define the situation as it is.
Okay.
So saying there are no weaknesses would be dishonest. If there were no weaknesses, things would be moving much faster. And there are things we must consider. Like, for example, our great leader has been in power for a long time. And he's now at the evening of his life. So there are people naturally jostling for space, to replace him. So you will expect posturing, you will expect backstabbing, you will expect intrigue, you will expect infighting, you expect betrayal, you expect all sorts of catfights. In people pulling from different power centers, left, right, and center, and all that has got to be kept in check.
Are you meaning that we are having something like a succession battle?
Yes, definitely. The succession battle will always be there, and it's not about whether we accept it or not. It is there, and of course the rumor mill has what it has been spewing out, and of course the president has played his cards close to his chest all this time. He's unpredictable, like you can see from the cabinet. Just released. So it's a matter of keeping our fingers crossed, hoping for the best, while expecting the worst at the same time.
In your own view, and perspective, what should be done to see that maybe Ugandans down there feel safe, that maybe they're secure? What should the government do to bring back hope, instill back hope in the Ugandans who have lost it?
It should do its job. It should bolster those institutions that seem to be fledgling, that seem to be weak. Maybe it's a personnel thing. It could be a staffing thing. It could be a leadership thing. It could be a policy issue. And if once that is done, because a problem identified,
it's a problem solved.
Is halfway solved. And once such things are looked into, then the belief will come back. But most importantly, we should not be overly sensational. We should not blow things out of proportion. We should not make mountains out of molehills, because crime has always been there. People have always been died since Cain and Abel, and they will still die when we are long gone. I'm not trying to be. I'm not being callous or insensitive, but we should be realistic.
But the issue of dying is not dying is not the issue, but in which way?
Of course, with the There are usually motives which are common why people kill each other.
Yeah.
Because these have been matters. There's no question.
Yeah, they are matters, yeah.
And it's usually sometimes they are crimes of passion. For example, to do with matters of the heart. People are fighting over a woman. There is power. People are fighting for power.
Power.
And then the old money.
Yeah.
The money issue. So it's the usual tripod upon which life rotates.
Yeah.
Money, power, and sex.
And sex.
So it can we can guess this and that. We can speculate, but it's very difficult to put a finger on one thing or the other without information. So let the information be gathered.
Yeah.
Let the clues be followed. Then when the time comes, when the 40th day of the criminals comes, they will surely be nabbed.
Okay.
Just like the panga-wielding thugs in the Greater
Massacre,
Kawukumi area. They were nipped in, they were put to some of the people were put out of action, the criminals. And that whole wave of crime was stamped on, it was stopped. There was the infamous Entebbe and Nazareth women who would be sexually molested and inhumanely treated.
Yeah.
But that wave was also put to rest. So I have hope that these murders will also be stopped.
Okay.
And I don't think they are identical, both in their planning and execution.
Execution.
The execution might have some similarities.
But we talk about execution. Some
because
of them have
border.
similarities.
But I don't think the motives are the same.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think they...
Does it mean that the motives are different, but the one who carries it out are the same?
Not necessarily.
Because when you look at the execution...
Not necessarily.
Mr. Namara, let's look at the shootings at the later Kawesi. Let's go to Major Chigundu. Let's go to Abiriga. And let's go to Chirumira. And compare them with the shootings that happened to... the shooting to General Katumba Amala. Are they the same in their of execution?
Already information has come out that the weapon that was used, one of the weapons, has been identified as having been used previously.
Yeah, previously, yeah.
With the Major
Chigundu's case, yeah.
Murder. And that is an indicator that these murderers, the gunmen, are the same. Yeah. Or probably they are getting their weapons from the same source. Because it's not unheard of that some members of the security organizations hire out their guns. Their guns. And there is in one of the cases, I think the Kawesa case, the guns that were used were said to have been the preserve of certain sections of the security organizations. They're not the usual AK-47. However, like we said before, the Kawukumi will be
always be there.
It will always be everywhere. So they will be running with the hare while hunting with the hound. Okay. Yeah. The different vernaculars have different ways to put it. Yeah. But the English people say it is running with the hare while hunting with the hounds. Okay.
Now, lastly on this issue, there is we talked about the media giving out or carrying out, exaggerating the issues, the instances that which have taken place, and maybe giving falsehoods. We saw up something that confused Ugandans. Some border guy who rode the journey for the first aid at Malcolm. Then somebody else came up and said, "I'm the one." That confusion, which even media published that guy did. So that confusion. Why was it a diversion or
a diversion by who and what end. In my view, the real border man who assisted the general did it out of goodwill, not out of he didn't want to be in the limelight, and he didn't want any reward for what he had done, and that's why he did not come out to claim the responsibility.
The responsibility,
So then this other sharp one took advantage of that virtue, came into the cameras, and the cameras were also eager. They gave him audience, but as he talked, he mentioned how he had got his border on loan, and how he intended to pay it off and buy another one and expand his business. So that one was, in my view, it was commercial, and I think it was because not very well thought out. He thought maybe General Katuma
would bail him out
money immediately. And by the time people get to know what's happening, they have taken away with the money. It was rather simplistic reasoning on his part. And I think it should not be blown out of proportion.
Okay. Would you just leave at that issue? There's no repercussions against him?
That's not for me. But I don't think, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't see what much wrong he did. I think it's a misdemeanor.
Can't it be linked? Can't he be linked? Can it be linked to one of the the assailants?
Well, I'm not an investigator, but what would he be trying to do now? Assuming he's one of the assailants, what point would he be making?
Okay.
I don't see
anything there.
I think he's a sharp Ugandan out to make a quick buck in a situation.
Okay. Lastly, we saw there's a video which is circulating on social media whereby the president of France is slapped by some. Does it mean that does it call for what? That's why we see that presidents in Africa are really guarded and have their security is beefed. To counter instances like that.
Yeah, all leaders, especially political ones, and all people that attract crowds, celebrities, be it in the sports world, be it like sports icons, be it in the entertainment world, musicians, they have to be careful. They have to be wary of the crowds, because people have different intentions. Now, the one of His Excellency Macron is it can be chalked up to laxity in his security detail. But we also need to bear in mind that the security detail works on the orders of the principal. So we don't know what he told them. We don't know how they were supposed to guard him. But I think by the time their boss is assaulted like that, then they are to be blamed. But irrespective of what they had been
at that point, at that very issue, is it right for them to work on the orders of their bosses, or they have to follow some principles while executing their work? Because if he's slapped like that, they are to be blamed.
They have to be.
Maybe he told them that no, you leave me, let me enjoy this. Then if that incident took place, they are going to be blamed. Now, who is to blame? My boss is telling me, no, leave me alone. He gets a problem.
To do what they were trained to do, not what the boss is telling them, especially if it puts his own security in jeopardy. They have to do what their commander has told them and what they were trained
to do,
irrespective of what the president, who might not be a trained security personnel, has told them.
Okay.
They need to know on which side their bread is buttered.
Okay.
Of course, they are now torn between the president, who is the commander-in-chief, and their immediate commander. But they need to know what they were trained to do.
They were trained to do, yeah. Because I've seen many occasions we've seen some people who try to see, like when the congregations, the president of Uganda is in attendance, people try to go and maybe talk to him or give him letters, things like that. But security doesn't allow them to go, and you say, these people are so bad. Are they trying to stop instances like those that happened to the president.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it goes without saying.
Yeah.
Because in this day and age, where terrorists have been known to use the most unorthodox means, like planting bombs on babies, you cannot relax. You cannot really put anything out of consideration.
Okay.
So the security has got to be on its toes, and to eliminate any form of danger.
Okay.
They have to discourage certain practices.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless you have something, our time is up, and we shall call it a day.
Just to thank the viewers and to urge them to stay tuned.
Okay, thank you very much. Mreba fatugobera kwa Steve ngina kuba nkwerekeza mukasera kaneno akadde katuweddekera nga tuyo batukoma waneno. Program edako eri toliweka ne mwana madana na miru. Twatenga lwa kusatu n'omukulu Tom Namara jakuba tuberangawo essawa 2 paka ku ssaawa 3 natune ensonga ezikoze amawulire mu wiki oba mu nnaku tuyakunanga yetubanga twogera ku Uganda babadde bakutomba bire byonna batugidiscussing tujogera ku lwakubadde tubeera muri Nyanyimbe yageza kola tugitematema mbirenga mukitegera mu tali nkataga emanya lo yababodaboda ngena kuba mberekereza tovaawo sigala Quest TV omukama abankuumire.